Stan walked into the bar next door, where some sort of celebration seemed to be going on. Before he could place his order, Edward shouted, "Drinks are on me!" A loud, enthusiastic roar echoed throughout the bar, which delayed the time it took Stan to get his drink. After a while, he walked over to Edward. "Thanks for the drink, buddy. Mind if I ask what the occasion is?" "No problem, buddy. Me and Emma, here she is." He tugged at the sleeve of the blouse of the woman next to him. "Now we can get a divorce." Emma grinned and raised her glass in affirmation of Edward's statement. "Wait, I don't get it." Stan furrowed his brow. "Usually in divorce, either both spouses are unhappy or one of them is. Why aren't either of you too sad?" "I can't hear anything over all this noise," Edward said, leaning in close to his ear. "I'll tell you all about it," Edward shouted, leaning into his ear. They went to one of the tables in the back of the room, which was quieter than the one near the bar. The man who was celebrating introduced himself as Edward, and the stranger said he was Stan. The two shook hands and sat down at the table, setting their glasses on it, and then Edward spoke. "Anyway, Stan, here's the deal. My grandfather was a rich man. Unfortunately, he was also a very bossy and grumpy old man. Before he died, my grandfather left me a sizable inheritance in a trust, with a few conditions. One, I had to get married before I turned 25. My grandfather believed that marriage would help me grow up. 2, the marriage itself had to last at least 5 years. Do you understand now?" Winked at Stan. "When I was 22, I found Emma and made a mutually beneficial deal with her. If she would marry me and stay married to me for 5 years, I would give her $500,000. "Wow!" Stan clicked his tongue. "That's a lot of money. So, you two really got married?" "Hell yeah. We got married, bought a house, and lived together for 5 years. Well, now we're free as the wind." "I see. Listen, during those 5 years, did you two develop a love affair, or was it just sex?" "Well, the thing is, our house was a duplex. I lived on one side of the duplex, and for 5 years, I had different girlfriends living with me. Emma had the other side where she mostly lived with her boyfriend. There were a couple times when we were both alone, and that's when we slept just for fun. She's actually not that bad in bed." "So, you inherited a lot of money, and now you're paying off Emma?" Stan asked, taking a sip of his beer and glancing over the rim of his glass at his vis-a-vis. "That's right, buddy." Edward smiled broadly, spreading his arms out to his sides. "I don't see how that's possible." Stan raised an eyebrow, setting his glass on the table. "What's it? What do you mean?" "Well, as far as I know, most trusts like this have a fraud clause." "A fraud clause?" Ed stretched out. "Well, yeah. Something to the effect that if the beneficiary of the trust entered into a sham marriage to get his share, then the contract becomes void." "Really? Yup. I don't think my trust has such a clause." Edward frowned, his eyes darting from side to side uncertainly. "Are you sure about that?" "No. And even if there is... No one knows we did it except maybe her boyfriend." "What about me?" "You? It's not like you had anything to do with this case. Why would you even say anything?" "What if I'm one of your grandfather's probate lawyers?" Stan innocently suggested. "Oh, crap. Look, I was just kidding about me and Emma. We married for love and have been true husband and wife for all of 5 years. I swear," raised his hand as if swearing on the Bible, "the fake husband of 5 years." "Please don't add lies to your crimes," Stan grinned. His companion on the other side of the table was clearly nervous. Can I do anything to make you forget what I told you?" The airboy cooed ingratiatingly. "Perfect timing. I was just about to get to that. Your grandfather was a mean old man. And frankly," Stan leaned across the table and lowered his voice, "I don't particularly like the charitable bunch that'll take all that money if I turn you in. How about you give me half of it?" "Half?" "Nah, man. That's not gonna work. God damn it. I put up with that bitch and counted every day of my sham marriage for 5 long years. I deserved that money down to the last dime." Edward's face flushed with indignation at the thought that the money he hadn't gotten yet was already starting to slip out of his hands. "Oh, all right then. It's either half or a bagel," Stan said with a crunch of his shoulders and stood up to leave. "Wait. Hey, wait a minute. No, well, all right. How about, 40% for you?" "All right," Stan smirked. "I don't like idle chit-chat and long haggling. Now, you need to ask the lead lawyer to prepare the inheritance payment in 2 sets of bitcoins," he continued. "One for 60% of the total amount and the other for 40. You give me the code to access 40% of the bitcoins without looking, and we part ways like ships at sea." "Okay," Edward said dejectedly, as if the air of celebration had been sucked out of him. At the reading of the will, the team's general counsel read the provisions of the trust. He solemnly declared that the grandson had fulfilled all the terms of the will and would receive the agreed amount in bitcoins, as he had requested. The documents with the conditional account code were handed over to Edward. After completing all the formalities, Edward handed over the account number in bitcoins for 40% of the amount to the lawyer, who then immediately left. The general counsel approached his not-so-joyful grandson. "Congratulations, kid. I hope you use that money wisely," he said, shaking Edward's hand. "Thanks," he mumbled, a sour expression on his face. "Can I ask you one thing?" "Sure, what is it?" "Who is that man sitting next to our junior paralegal?" "Well, that's one of your lawyers. Isn't that right?" "One of ours? I've never seen him before."